In this tutorial, we're going to run through the process of creating ebooks in Typemill. There is one change, however. In this tutorial, we'll be using the Chrome browser instead of Firefox, since the technology to generate ebooks currently only works in Chromium browsers. Let's start by going to the login page, which you'll find at /tm/login. Then go to your settings and open the plugins menu. In one of the previous tutorials, we installed the eBook plugin, which you can see here. Now we'll activate the plugin and review its settings. There are only two settings for the eBook plugin. You can choose whether you want to generate the ebooks as an admin, or whether you want to generate and manage them as the author. If you want to create the books as an author, the ebook creation screen will appear on every page you work on. We'll look at that in detail later. If we save the settings, we'll see a new item called eBooks on the left-hand side in the navigation. Click on it and you'll see the Create an eBook screen. The first thing to do is choose the layout. The layout electric has no settings. The Typemill layout, on the other hand, has additional settings. Both layouts are primarily intended to demonstrate the possibilities of the plugin, since developers can also create their own layouts for the plugin if they prefer. That said, the Typemill layout is a useful one to start with. Let's take a quick look at the settings. We'll make changes a bit later. For now, though, let's just enter the most pertinent details. As you can see, I've already entered a title, subtitle, and an author. I've also added an edition here. If you'd like, you can add a background image, but we'll leave that alone for now. If you look down below, you'll see that I've chosen two background colors. Keep in mind that this isn't necessarily supported with every layout. Let's leave out the imprint and acknowledgement for now, as well as the table of contents. We can add all of that info later. Next, let's go to the content section. By default, all pages are automatically selected for the ebook. However, you can exclude individual pages or entire areas. In the next step, you can enter a blurb for your ebook. Finally, let's go to the last page. Here we get some information about the requirements. As I already mentioned, the ebook generation process currently only works with a Chromium browser, so Google Chrome, Brave, or Opera will work. You'll also have to configure some settings in your browser before you move forward. We'll do that later. When everything is ready, click on the Preview button. Then, a preview of the ebook will open in a new window. Check out your preview and make sure that everything is there. The cover, the paragraphs, pagination. You'll also see running headers and running footers. What you see ultimately depends on the layout you select. All in all, everything meets the professional requirements for the typesetting and typography of a good ebook. If you discover an error, you can, of course, always make corrections in the Typemill content editor. To create the PDF, open the Customize panel for your browser and select Print. It's important to use the PDF function of the Chrome browser and not the Microsoft Print driver, as it doesn't work well in this context. It's also important that the margins are set to none and that the background graphics are activated. If the setting is available, you also need to deactivate headers and footers. Then you can save the file to your local device. Let's take a look at the PDF. The PDF contains all the elements. The fonts are neatly embedded, and the overall quality is so high that the PDF can definitely be published as an ebook. Next, let's look at a few more settings. Go to General Settings. You'll find additional configurations here. For example, you could change the heading levels. To understand the reasoning behind doing this, let's go over to the content area. Notice the page structure has different levels. If you want to convert the structure into a book, you don't want to display each subpage as a separate chapter. You usually only want to display the higher level pages as chapters. Therefore, when converting to an ebook, the subheadings get downgraded and integrated into the parent chapter with this setting. So, for instance, in this subpage, I have a first level heading. This would be converted to a second level heading in the book. Feel free to play around a little bit with this configuration so you can get the hang of how it works. If you don't want to use this setting, just turn off the conversion here. In that case, all your headings will maintain the same levels as they do on your Typemill website, regardless of the position of the page in the structure. With the next setting, you can change the quality of your images. By default, small images are always used, but you can specify here that the images should be kept to their original size. This is especially relevant for print products. When it comes to purely digital ebooks, though, it's often advisable to use small image variants in order to keep the ebook file small. The next section on hyphenation is no longer relevant. Chrome has been able to automatically hyphenate for all operating systems since version 88. The next point is about endpoints. The ebook script does not yet support footnotes, though. Typemill uses page.js. The makers of the script have announced a change for the year 2021. Therefore, footnotes can be converted into endnotes here. Then, all footnotes are moved to the very end of the book. The additional settings at the bottom have no function. They're only intended to demonstrate to developers who want to create their own ebook layouts that one can integrate the complete form builder from Typemill and thereby send any data to the ebook template. So a lot of flexibility is possible here. Let's look at the other settings. As I mentioned, you can also include a cover image. In addition, you have the option of only using the cover image and leaving out the details above pertaining to title, subtitle, and author. So you can develop your own graphic for the cover and integrate all the text within the image. This gives you complete freedom in designing your cover. Here, I've included content for the imprint as well as for a dedication. In this next point, you can enable an automatically generated table of contents. All you have to do is click the checkbox, enter a title for the page, and select how many heading levels should appear in the table of contents. We've already done everything with the content section. In the next tab, you can insert a blurb. Now let's look at the ebook again. Here we see the imprint. The automatically generated table of contents also works, and the page numbers are clickable. At the very end, we see the endnotes, but we didn't use footnotes in the text. And on the last page, we see the blurb. At the very beginning, we configured two settings in the ebook plugin. We have now used the function for administrators. This ebooks page in the navigation is only visible to the admin. We have also activated the function so that authors can generate individual ebooks directly from the page. That means that everything we have seen here, the author can do on each individual page and for each individual area. The only difference is the content selection, since only the pages from the area in which I'm currently located are displayed. Otherwise, everything is exactly the same as it is for admin. This means that you can generate any number of ebooks from a Typemill website. You can imagine many scenarios for this. For example, multilingual operating instructions for different products, various annual reports for organizations, or training documents for coaches or trainers. So you'd simply need to set up a separate area for each version, from which you can then generate the corresponding ebooks. In another tutorial, we'll learn how to use authorizations so that, for example, content can only be made visible to certain users or groups, or different authors can be selected, and thus publications with several authors can be managed. That's it for the ebook plugin. Of course, there are still many further developments planned. In particular, Typemill is planning to allow for ebook creation in EPUB format in a future release.